Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I know I say it all the time and I will continue to say it all the time. I really do appreciate you for being here. So thank you for listening into the podcast. And because you've been such a faithful listener, you helped us get ranked in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, according to Listen Notes. So really appreciate you. And if you would help us keep it going, rate, review, subscribe, and you probably hear that all the time, but it really does make a difference. So just take a moment and do that. It will help us keep the podcast going. All right. So now today is a solo episode. Every few episodes or so, I do a solo episode. And lately, these next several solo episodes as well as the past two, come directly from the concepts of my new book coming soon. And the book is called Becoming a Purpose Maker. So each of these episodes, I'm sharing some concepts that I think will be helpful for you that come directly out of the book. All right. And I think and believe that stories help connect us. So as I've done in the past, I'll share my story and then I'll talk about how my story relates to you and how I think it would be beneficial to you. All right. So this is a story that I hold fondly in my heart. And it's about my father because I've learned so much about him. I mean, about myself from him. And so I'm often sharing stories. So this one I was about, I would say maybe second or third grade. So what is that, 7 or 8 years old? And we were at my favorite park back in my hometown, Fulton Park. And we were at the ice skating rink. And this is my first time, and he's teaching me how to ice skate. And he said, and so he holds my hand, and I say, "Let me go. Let me go. I can do it myself. I can do it myself." And so he let my hand go, and bam, I fell on my butt. Now I remember this story so vividly because I do remember it. And my father used to tell me that story over and over again. And by the time I was a teenager, and he thought it was so funny, I didn't think it was funny at all. But he told me the story in a way that was kind of fun and interesting. And later, as an adult, looking back, I thought about, well, it did show that I had sort of, okay, I won't say stubborn streak, but I'll say an independent streak. I wanted to do things myself. I wanted to kind of be on my own. So I learned that lesson from my father and from him sharing that story. And it helped me to know that he understood me. He got me through those stories that he would share about who I was and how I was as a younger child. All right, so now fast forward. I was in my mid 20s and I was working in a leadership role at a bank. And while I was there, my mother called and told me that my father had died. He had been sick for a long time, a very severe case of diabetes, and over a period of, about 5 years. And so I can't say his death was not expected completely, but it was still nevertheless sort of uh, shocking in a way, and it did something inside of me. I didn't know at the time, but looking back, I realized it did something in me that caused an inner examination and sort of re-examination. No, it wasn't a conscious examination. I mean, I didn't exactly know back then, and I didn't know really what was going on, but there was an inner turmoil that was going on in me, separate from the grief of his loss. There was something else going on, but his death heightened whatever it was that was going on with me. And, of course, I missed him, and I missed the way he understood me. So I began examining my life. And this is something you might do after a loss too. Maybe not such a tragic loss, but any loss. You might start to look at your life and your work, and that's kind of what I did. I started to do. I thought about my career and the work I was doing, and I felt like I was just going through the motions at work. But I was in this role, in this leadership role, and I was young and I had people twice my age reporting to me, and I was at this bank, and so the job was considered in my mother's eyes a good job, and people around me saw it as, sort of a mark of success that I was doing the thing that I went to college for, but in my mind and in my heart, it was just not for me. So there was a period of time where I was getting headaches on Sunday night just thinking about going to work on Monday morning. And then just throughout the day, I'd have these headaches. And I kind of knew it was the stress of the job, but I felt like, what could I do? Then, if the headaches weren't bad enough, I started having nosebleeds. And then one morning, in the mid-morning while I was there at the bank, out of nowhere, this blood just gushed out of my nose and realized this is really a sign of stress. And this is how much this work is going against the grain of who I was at that time. And although I didn't completely realize it as clear as I do now, but I had this sense of numbness, like I was just going through the motions. And I realize now, looking back, that feeling and along with those headaches and nosebleeds, they were signs that I was out of alignment with my authentic self. Now, you might say, well, what do you mean your authentic self? I just wasn't being true to who I was and who I am still. And for me, that is what true purpose is. And by the way, I talk about this, what I believe true purpose is, what my true purpose is, and what your true purpose is in a recent episode, episode 209. So after you listen to this one, go back to 209 and it will put this episode in a broader context for you. So there I talk about, and I believe my purpose and your purpose is to be who you really are, to be your authentic self, and to stay in alignment with that. And so the nosebleeds and the headaches were indicators that I was out of alignment with my authentic self. I was disconnected from my true essence. I was not honoring who I was, who I am. I was operating against my authentic self. So I realized that looking back. Now you might say, so why so what? Why are you talking about this now? Why is it important? Well, it's important to you. It's important for all of us, and especially if you're a high achieving woman. Now, let me give you my definition of a high achieving woman. A high achieving woman is someone who is responsible, ambitious in a positive way. She is good at a few things. She's the one that people come to in her professional life just for advice. In her family and personal life, community, people come to her for advice, whether it's something she knows about it or not. She's the go-to person, right? And she's doing lots of things, and she's pretty good at that. And so people often feel like she doesn't need support. She's the one that is supporting others. And she is now thinking about, is this it? Is this all there is? Success is starting to feel hollow. There must be more. So that's the woman I'm talking about when I say high achieving women. All right. But again, this is important for all of us. So recognizing the signs of being out of alignment with your authentic self is critical. You can't get to true purpose in your authentic self without recognizing when you're out of alignment. So this is why I'm taking this time to share with you and help you to understand and hopefully identify and recognize any misalignment in your own life. When we ignore like subtle signs like that, like going through the motions, this sort of numbness, headaches, any emotional strain, they keep us from finding the fulfillment we're looking for. And though easy to dismiss, these symptoms are our mind and body's way of saying it's time. It's time to align with our authentic selves, with our true purpose. For high achieving women, sometimes success comes wrapped in the allure of accomplishment. degree, the promotion, the recognition, and the financial security that signify having made it. Society celebrates these achievements, and rightly so. Each represents an incredible amount of hard work, resilience, and talent. Yet, for many women, these same markers of success can paradoxically begin to feel like a cage, trapping them in a life that no longer aligns with their authentic selves. This misalignment isn't a failure, it's a signpost. So recognizing these signs is an important step for moving forward and finding fulfillment and true purpose. High achieving women often carry a burden of perfectionism and expectations, sometimes self imposed, sometimes imposed by society, or both. So, acknowledging misalignment opens the door to profound self awareness that allows you to step out of this mode of being on autopilot. And by recognizing these signs early, you can avoid deeper dissatisfaction and create space for possibilities that may have been obscured by the relentless pursuit of success. Furthermore, these moments of recognition serve as a reality check, highlighting how success, when misaligned with our authentic selves. Now, hear me, there's nothing wrong with success. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when the particular type or form or way of success, when it's misaligned with our authentic selves, it could become hollow, empty, and meaningless. High achieving women often define their worth through external accolades, but success that lacks alignment feels incomplete. Recognizing this misalignment is an invitation to focus inward and to reconnect with who we really are. And this process of recognition allows you, me, us to ask bigger, bolder questions about our life and our priorities. Are you living to meet someone else's definition of success? Or are you living authentically? High achieving women are uniquely equipped to turn this awareness into action because the same skills that propelled you to success, strategic thinking, resilience, determination, and more, can also help you navigate the path to alignment. So, this isn't about discarding your achievements, it's about integrating them into a future that feels true to who you are. Misalignment with your authentic self often shows up subtly at first. It may start as a vague sense of dissatisfaction or restlessness, despite having everything you once thought you wanted. The career you built may be less like a source of inspiration and more like a series of obligations. Achievements that used to had some joy, some happiness, now feel hollow, and a nagging question might creep into your mind. Is this it? Is this all there is? And other signs include physical and emotional exhaustion, a loss of enthusiasm for work, or a persistent feeling of just being off. Something's just off. And perhaps you even feel like you don't deserve to feel this dissatisfaction because after all, you achieved so much. You might feel or ask yourself, shouldn't I be grateful? But it's essential. It's essential to understand that these signs of misalignment are not flaws, but signals that change is needed. Stress, headaches, and fatigue can emerge when your inner self signals that something is out of sync. These signs often go unnoticed or are dismissed just as a part of being a busy woman. However, they're your body's way of urging you to pay attention. These signs, although they may be challenging to face, they are invaluable guides in identifying the need for alignment with your authentic self, with your true purpose. And this misalignment sometimes it could mess with your confidence a little bit, making you question whether you are even capable of making any change. This feeling of being off and even this all of these signs could be precursors to breakthrough moments. So when you can identify the patterns that signal misalignment, whether it's persistent dissatisfaction, physical stress, or even emotional detachment, you can begin to unravel the root causes. So recognizing these signs is not about criticizing yourself. It's about acknowledging that you're ready for growth. I'm going to repeat that. It's about acknowledging that you're ready for growth and you're ready to seek a life that feels authentic and that is authentic and true to you. A life that brings meaning and purpose and fulfillment. All right, so now here's something you can do right away to identify the signs of misalignment. Whether you're a person who journals or not, if you do journal, write this down, and it doesn't have to be big official thing in a journal. You can write in your computer or your notes, wherever you write. But I challenge you to take some time over the next week to do some daily journaling of your physical and emotional state, because this can help you identify patterns. So just take a few minutes, anytime during the day, could be at the end of the day or anytime you have some time, take a few moments and just sit quietly and reflect on how you feel physically and emotionally. And ask yourself, are there any areas where am I just going through the motions? And ask yourself, do I have any areas of tension or fatigue or unease? And then just make a note of the reoccurring patterns. Whatever comes up could be low energy, frequent headaches, emotional numbness, or others. So these are signs of misalignment. And then if or when you see a pattern, ask yourself, if I could change one thing, what would it be? Now, this idea of thinking and taking some time and writing, it's just to bring you into awareness, because when you're in the busyness of the day and life and work, we don't always have the awareness. And awareness is the first step. It helps you understand and help you get to where you want to be. It's about paying attention and being aware. And doing this kind of reflection will give you that awareness. So when you're not held back by misalignment, this is when you can find profound fulfillment, deep meaning, and true purpose. I mean, I know it to be true in my own life and the lives of others. So I know you can do it. I absolutely know you can do it. And this is one important step on that journey. So I encourage you to do it. All right, so start with that. And if you want more, follow me on LinkedIn at Robin L. Owens, PhD, where I share more content about this. That's at Robin L. Owens, PhD. And I'm on other channels too, same at Robin L. Owens, PhD. And I spend most of my time on LinkedIn. So follow me there and be the first to know when I open the wait list for my new book, Becoming a Purpose Maker, where we get into this in more detail, and I think it's something that you would really appreciate. All right. So until next time, this is Dr. Robin.